Hello and welcome to a new edition of Ladies Corner with T, aka Conversations, aka Politics Today with T Adeyemo. It's been a minute. The last time we did this was way back in February. I'm hoping to be able to do this every Friday to talk politics, to talk what's going on in your community, 12 o'clock every Friday. So we have a show for you today. We have none other and the president of the Nigerian Canadian Association of Edmonton as our guest. And later on, we have, I think, Malik Chukwudi, one of the Edmonton's, a city of Edmonton's mayoral candidate. We have Giselle General, and we have all the way from Wood Buffalo, seeking re-election, Councillor Funky Banjoko. We hope you stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting hour. So let's get right into it. Congratulations, Dr. Chris, on your is the ascension or on your election, sir?
Election, actually.
Not ascension, I beg your pardon, election. How did you feel when you won?
Well, grateful to the Nigerian community, grateful to the core members of the Nigerian Canadian Association of Edmonton, grateful to the electoral committee that worked tirelessly to ensure that we had a very nice election. And grateful to my colleagues in the former executive team led by Funke Lokude that I worked with before this particular session started. So I just felt humbled that I was the one that they chose to lead the serving of the Nigerian community. And it's a lot of work. I know. So I have to say that upfront. But at least I'm grateful that they thought I was fit to carry that mantle.
I know several other people attempted to be president, and maybe one or two of them are feeling disgruntled. What is your message to those who did not meet the election criteria?
Oh, the first thing I'd said, and I've said that before, especially during the inauguration, that this is not a PDP APC situation. This is not, politics in the bitter waters, because there's no gratuities, there's no money involved, for people to take. There's no recovery of, election funding, because there was no election funding or donation or anything. This is service to our community. So if anybody came out in the first place to do it, my clear message is that person obviously has our community at heart and wants to serve. And so whether you got elected or not, you still need to serve, because the reason you came out is to serve. And therefore we have various channels, we have various other avenues through which people can serve. We have a lot of committees. We do our work with a lot of committees, and we have a lot of committee spaces for people to come and cheer or be members or participate and bring their skill and their knowledge and whatever it is they have, to the service of our community. This is simply just service. Is for us to help our community grow, establish, and be normalized. And I mean, that's a phrase that I think is not, people are not very familiar with, but I use often. And I use it often because I think that other communities have normalized when they speak or when they do anything. Anybody in Canada knows, oh, this person is from the Indian community or from the Filipino community, and they recognize them. We are not yet there. People tend to strain to hear us, even though we speak better English than most people around. People do not give us the credence that we deserve, and we need to be able to work together, to get there. So my message for everybody who participated is, you want to serve, please come ahead and join us. And I have to say, T, at this stage, that some of them have already come on to join, serving in the committees that we're setting up to be able to tackle all the areas of the problems we have.
Okay, I should definitely sign up for one of the committees. I want to join the Nigerians with you taking the lead, sir. So what was it that inspired you to put yourself out for this role in the first place?
Good question. The truth is that when I moved to Edmonton in 2021, I found out that the Nigerian Canadian Association had not, spread its tentacles enough to get all the Nigerians that are in the Edmonton region involved in at least working for itself as a community. And so that's what dragged me into the first ESCO that I served in between 2023 and June, when I was now elected president. As for why I ran for the presidency, I found out that the 2 years we spent together with Ms. Funko Lokude, who is now running for councillorship in Edmonton, laid quite a lot of groundwork and foundation. We put up the structures. We basically we had our strategic plan, made out, so it's now ready. We cleaned up our financial and accounting books and made sure that it's now clean, and we have nothing that could be clogged, so that we have both financial statement and audited statement to be able to, seek help from anywhere that we could. We, created procedures and processes so that there's a way to do things that is normal for an organization. We basically laid quite a lot of foundation that needs now to be built so that the Nigerians in Edmonton region can come and be proud of an association that can help them in many ways. And so I came out because I thought that with the foundation we've created, I needed somebody who was also part of creating that foundation, needed to stay on for the next 2 years and consolidate on it and build the association so that Nigerians can be proud of the association, and the association can now begin to serve Nigerians at the level and capacity it should serve Nigerians. So that's basically what made me come.
Okay, serving Nigerians is beautiful, but do Nigerians want to be served? My understanding is in the community, Nigerians are struggling to participate. They are not coming out to volunteer. They are not showing up at meetings en masse. This is a problem of catastrophic proportions. How are you planning, or how is your team planning right now to engage Nigerians generally to come to the association and count?
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of apathy, and the apathy has a background, as you know, probably. The time when the association was dysfunctional because of crises in the past and all of that, the vestiges of those crises and the apathy that followed it has not worn off altogether. But I have to also correct the impression that Nigerians that Nigerians don't want to come and serve. To be very honest, in the last 1 year, we have had a surge of Nigerians, volunteering to the association. And to be very honest, the 2024 Heritage Festival had the highest number of volunteers that the association has had in probably the 40 years of its existence. The Heritage Month also had, quite an amazing number of volunteers working in various committees for the various projects we did last October 2024. So my point is, awareness is now beginning to be created because people are also seeing the work that we have been doing, the groundwork that we have been setting out, and seeing that we are creating structures and we are creating honest processes to do the work. As for how are we going to move this forward, the focus of the executive team under my presidency is basically to get a larger portion of Nigerians into the association activities. One of the ways that we have, already started working on that from the last ESCO is to make sure that we have good partnership and good collaboration with the major ethnic associations. So the Yoruba Cultural Association becomes a grassroots organization, then Igbo Cultural Association, the Ichekiri Cultural Association, Edo Community, Northern Community of Nigeria in Edmonton, the Anioma Community, the Ishan Community, Akwa Ibom, which is Efik and Ibibio Association, and all of this other, there's Urobo Isoko, which is also Delta, so we have all of these ethnic associations that we now, are collaborating with and partnering with as grassroots organizations, because of course, that in Nigeria, you're first to Urobo before you are a Nigerian, unlike in Canada, where you're first Canadian before you are Albertan. Basically because of political creation. So we are working with these ethnic associations where people seem to have much more affiliations to make sure that we bring, and then everybody that sees Nigeria nationally the way I see it or you see it, who it does not belong to this association, we go to them directly and we're trying to get them to join. We are also reaching out to professional associations that have Nigerian professionals in it, Nigerian Lawyers Association, Nigerian Medical Association, Nigeria Nurses Association, all here in Edmonton. All of these associations that, connect Nigerian professionals, we are also, working with. We also are getting out to the colleges and universities to ensure that the youths understand why the NCAE is the central body from which, both settlement issues and advocacy and support and all the other things happen for the people of Nigerian descent in Edmonton. So that's the broad nature of work we're trying to put together. And we have some other strategies that maybe I cannot discuss here, but just to answer your question, these are the things we're doing.
You sound very good. I'm feeling quite listening to all this stuff, the grassroots work that you'll be doing, or you're already doing. You mentioned honest processes earlier on, that this from Mr. Lokode's tenure to the one you're now president of, you've been working hard to make sure your processes are transparent and honest. And this is important because Nigerians, like everybody else, they like to see honesty in our leaders. We like to see integrity. We like to see transparencies, like the basic bottom line expectations from the people who serve us. I want you to reflect with me for 1 second when you talk about honest processes, how you are thinking to tackle one, bread and butter issues for Nigerians. Not all Nigerians are successful as your board. Vulnerable issues concerning single motherhood, youths in the criminal system, and the worst of it is unemployment. Is your board thinking of these grassroots issues at all as you begin to gather to start work?
It's very interesting that you have this set of issues listed in the question you just asked. I said it very interesting because when we commissioned a consultancy firm to try and help us, create a strategic plan, and of course, that the process of writing developing a strategic plan means that there has to be stakeholder engagement, and the firm did engage the stakeholders, just to find out what is it that the community needs the NCAE to focus on. The issues you just raised, were the major things that they found. And so their recommendation for the strategic direction of the NCAE are focused on these issues, on criminal justice, on unemployment, on youth issues and development, on mental health, and actually health equity as a whole. So these are, core areas of what we intend to focus on developing in the coming years. I do not believe that we are going to make milestone progress on them in my tenure. What I think we can be able to do in my tenure is to lay the foundations for the future NCAE to, now begin to help to work in these areas more strongly. And I say that because, like I said, due to the crisis that the NCAE had and its rebuilding process that culminated in the last ESCO doing the amount of work it did, there are also stages of what we need to do to be able to get to the place where we can then comfortably provide the kind of service that we're now talking about. And one of such things is to be able to, first and foremost, even the NCAE as it stands does not even have a real physical office as we're talking now. So that's where we're building to. We're building to, first, let's get back, and of course, you know that was because the Nigerian house got burnt, and then the next house, the building that was purchased was, eventually found to be defective, and we had to sell it. So we're still in the process of trying to see how to get the association properly located in a place where we can then be able to begin to serve Nigerians at the levels that we're talking about. But to address some of the issues that you raised, again, we have now begun what we have begun already, and we're working on now is we have begun partnerships and collaborations, especially with sponsors. And as you know, we have relationships with the Africa Center. We have relationship with the Ribbon Reach Foundation. We have relationship with EPVO. We have relationship. So we have relationship with Black Foundation. So these are partnerships that we are trying to build to now begin to tackle the issues, sector by sector and point by point as we go forward. We have not started making the progress that people would expect from us, but it is a foundational work that we intend to start doing, especially because, like I just said, our strategic plan pointed all of this out as the areas that we should focus. So we're focusing on it.
Thank you. I want you to reflect on how, moving forward, a major organization like yours will support independent media like us, because I get what we're doing here is pretty much foundational as well.
Yes.
But you do need opportunities for chats like this to tell us how you're thinking about moving forward and engaging community. So my next question is, how do you intend to support not just Ladies Corner or Miss Purple Media, not just this, but generally independent grassroots organizations who support the NCAE generally?
Right. Well, thank you for that question. The thing is, if you remember, I used the word normalization before. So if you look out in the environment that we live in, you will find out that grassroots media of ethnic and tribal origins, and I use those phrases on a loose term, help out each of their communities to be able to normalize, because the process of normalization means that every other community have to know everything or most things about you as a community. So for instance, the African community as a whole is not exactly, and I would say ACB as a whole, African, Caribbean, and Blacks, are not in anywhere near the place they should be at this point in time. Now, the media plays one of the biggest roles in this, because whatever you guys put out is what people will consume, and that's what people will know about us. So our own plan in the Nigerian Canadian Association of Edmonton is to ensure that at every point in time we are working with you guys who are in the independent media, especially as ACB community members. And you're right, it's not necessarily Nigerian this time around. Is all of African, Caribbean, and Black community media. Our plan. I'm sorry.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, so our basic plan is to just ensure that wherever you need us, please get to us, because if we need to raise money together, if we need to get grants to be able to help out, if we need anything that we need so that we can work together while you are doing your business, you are also helping us to reach out to the community that we serve. That's what I
should say that this show is not sponsored, and we're on the lookout for sponsorship. So it'll be a beautiful way for the NCAE to be able to say they sponsored this show for however many weeks. So we're out here looking for sponsors for our Friday shows. Dr. Chris, I noticed real quick that your website, the NCAEDM.com, is not yet updated. We have about 2 more minutes. Talk to us in terms of how can we find information about your tenure, about the work you'll be doing. And in 2 minutes, I want you to talk to us about what legacy do you aim to leave, and how would you ensure consistency beyond your tenure?
All right, very quickly. Our website is not updated only with the information about the new ESCO because we just got elected last week. But every other thing on our website can help you, know about the NCAE, both registration, both understanding what we do, both knowing what projects we are going to be doing. Everything is on that, is on the website. We also have social media handles. We have Facebook, we have Instagram. I think we're getting on Twitter, and we are creating a YouTube channel now because we intend to start also doing some kind of podcast eventually. In terms of the second part of your question, I'm trying to gather that what you asked, after all of that.
What's your legacy? What's that gonna look like?
The legacy, yeah. So basically, all I want to be able to leave with my team, what we have talked about is we want to leave an association that Nigerians will actually be running to, not the association running after Nigerians, and running to because the association provides all the services and all the help that Nigerians in the Edmonton area are looking for. That's the only legacy we want to be able to leave, is to make sure that there's an association that all Nigerians people of Nigerian descent in Edmonton recognize and run to for help and for service, just because this association is effective in doing that.
Dr. Chris Chukwuma, you do not lie when you say you want the NCAE to be relevant to all Nigerians. And if your organization is relevant to every Nigerian in the city, we will come to you. We'll come to you with our problems. We'll come to you when our youth are in distress, when we're looking for employment, when we're looking for information about the Heritage Festival, and so on and so forth. So I get that bit. The NCAE needs to be relevant. And it's a beautiful place to say thank you for joining this, our first session back this election season. Dr. Chris Chukwuma, you're an asset. I hope to bring you again and again as we, you said you were looking and getting ready for Heritage Festival. We can maybe do this in a couple of weeks to talk about what's that looking like for you. Dr. Chris Chukwuma, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tunde. It's nice to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you the rest of your day. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Yeah, bye.
So that was Dr. Chris Chukwuma, was sworn in last week, he said, newly elected president of the Nigerian Canadian NCAE Association of Edmonton. And he joined us to take a couple of questions. And he left us with a very powerful thought, the NCAE being relevant to Nigerians. which is really beautiful and inspirational. He and his team have amazing plans to change the lives of every Nigerian in the city, but they want to start by getting us involved in Heritage Festival, which will be happening in a couple of weeks. Please visit their website, ncaedm.com, as to how you can participate in the great things that they're doing over there at the NCAE. That's ncaedm.com. We thank you so much, Dr. Chris, for your time this afternoon. I will wish you all the very best as you embark on this very, very, very interesting journey, being the main leader of Nigerians in Edmonton. Thank you very much again, Dr. Chris.
Thank you, Tilde. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of your day. And for viewers, please always reach out to this channel, to this station, because we would always have a lot of news for you coming from this channel. We support Tundu and the Ladies Corner, and whenever we can, we're going to be here to give you more information about what we're doing. So please support this channel. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Have a great day, sir. Thank you too.
Yeah, bye-bye.
So our next guest is waiting. She's Giselle General. You will know her. She's not a stranger to Edmonton city politics. This is Edmonton Today with your girl Tee Adeyemo. Without much ado, this is Giselle General. Good afternoon, Giselle. How are you?
Good afternoon. Happy Friday. I'm doing well overall. And yes, I hope everyone, our audience and yourself, T, I hope you're all doing well.
Yes, we're doing well. I know this is your lunch break and we're going to get right into it. Thank you so very much for your time. I am excited at your nomination. Of course, you're now on the City of Edmonton website as is a very serious candidate doing this the second time. What is the allure? Why are you putting yourself under so much stress running for councillor? Why do you do this to yourself, Giselle?
Well, I think what's really interesting is if you pull out any clips we have done in 2021 and even during the episodes for Engage Edmontonian that we've done before, I think it really answers that question. I truly believe in people's ability to be the change they want to see. And it might sound kind of boring, but good governance truly impacts our lives in both short term and long term. And that is something I have witnessed time and time again from university, from all my volunteering with the city boards and nonprofit organizations, that the decisions that are made in those tables really impact everyone in ways that they clearly see and sometimes behind the scenes. So I would like to give it one more attempt. If I could be part of that decision making table in big decisions with the city, I'd like to see if I can make it work.
All right. Good governance was something you alluded to just now in your introductory remarks. What lessons did you learn from your first time having a go at this? What sort of lessons are you going to be incorporating into the second attempt?
Running in 2021 is a bit of an outlier. It's quite unique because of all the perceptions and limitations because of COVID. You can argue that this might be my first time I'm running a conventional campaign, so to speak, with actually going on events and knocking on doors a lot more often and people being more vocal and opinionated. I definitely have more emails and comments this time around asking me immediately what I think and what I feel about different issues. I think the biggest takeaway that I have observed is people are exhausted and are overwhelmed, and that's why the average person is not very well informed about all the issues of the city. And that's the job of the candidates, the media, and even the volunteers of the candidates is to make it as accessible and informational and relevant as possible.
Is it a fair question to ask you if the current City of Edmonton set of councillors have done a good job regarding governance and accessibility? Is that a fair question you want to have a go at?
Absolutely, I'd like to give my thoughts on that. In my personal opinion, perhaps council as a whole can be better. However, I have seen individual elected representatives give shining examples of what could happen. In my case, over here on the West End, I think back in 20, even before 2020, there was only one city councillor who would host online town halls through Facebook, and now it became trendy and common amongst many of the counselors who got elected in 2021, but there are still some who hasn't done it. The principle of meeting people where they're at, some counselors have done it, and I hope to emulate that, copy their templates if I ended up being one of their colleagues. But city council as a whole, I think there's some, like I said, there's a bit of an information gap in there. I think they communicate what they do, but sometimes it's too technical or too big for an average person to understand. So I think the communication piece can be better. But I mean, I just want to take a moment to say that anyone who takes the effort to run for office and bear the burden of making these big decisions, I respect them all. And yeah, it's all about making sure that everyone understands short-term and long-term implications. And sometimes that's with with environmental and political changes at the national and international level changing. Sometimes it's hard to do, and I understand why sometimes decisions are not it doesn't pan out as initially intended.
Mm. I hear you there, Giselle, and you've spoken with wisdom. For those who are just tuning in, thank you. This is Now Tag Politics Today with Tee Adeyemo, and this is Giselle General. And in 2021, as you're running in 25, you ran for Ward Sipiwiyiniwak, isn't it? Now, I kind of like when you say, when you reflect on what you could do better now, but you're also reflecting on the fact that some councillors were more accessible by doing online town halls. Now, I notice I get your newsletter, and I'm sorry I could not attend your lunch, but you know I support you. I support what you do. Most crucially, when you go out knocking on this many doors, what are you hearing as frustrations from members of the ward you're looking to represent? What are they saying to you? Is it the cost of living crisis? Is it problems and frustrations around transportation that or security that trumps what you're hearing? Please tell us what your ward members are saying to you right now.
Absolutely. So, for context, Ward CP Winniwalk on the West End spans from like the area by the zoo to the mall to right by Enoch Cree Nation and further south, right before reaching Windermere. So there's very old neighborhoods, there's very new and fast-growing neighborhoods, and I am still working on getting in touch with more. But with the messages that I've been receiving in my inbox and the door knocking I have been doing already, affordability is definitely a big one. Someone told me that their property taxes, I mean, they're rich, so I don't begrudge them of that, but their property taxes in their home went up $2,000 last year. And I mean, I think even wealthy people, that would be a bit of a hit. Construction impacts is definitely a big thing because LRT construction, it affects us, neighborhood renewal, and it's interesting because people understand the intention of all these constructions, but it's the how it impacts their day-to-day lives and how sometimes construction is not done in a way that is safe for people making detours. That is actually the component that people are frustrated about. And safety is definitely an issue, particularly with break-ins and encampments. I live in an area with old cheap housing. I will not that's just the way it is. And there's been continuous issue with encampments and whatnot. So those are the major patterns that I have been seeing, and it's really tricky sometimes because some of the issues that people had brought up, the city government does not have very direct impact. For example, delays of schools being built in the fast growing neighborhoods in the suburbs, the city cannot push for a school to be built faster. However, it is an issue that people feel comfortable enough telling you. Immigration is another one that, and employment. But there's a Ministry of jobs at the provincial level where they can make a bigger impact. But that's where intergovernmental partnerships are really important. And it's important to convey that to people that I hear you. And if I get elected, I will do what I can to work with the counterparts of other levels of government because some of these problems require that kind of collaboration. But people keep talking about it.
When I speak to some of the present councillors, I hear that some of them are frustrated that they would like to do more, but they cannot do more. And
Mhm.
what are your thoughts regarding that? You want to do more, but you can't. How would you overcome this sort of setback if you do get elected?
Yes, it's one thing that candidates, especially for those who have not been a politician before or haven't worked around the politicians, that's one lesson sometimes learned the hard way when it comes to governance, right? I volunteer for the Transit Advisory Board for 6 years, and it's one of those situations where all of us 12 board members need to have a joint position together. And that's the same thing at the municipal level, even if you agree maybe just 75% of the position, but you have to ideally align yourself with what the head of that group, the mayor, has to say. I think when it comes to areas where a counselor might have a bit of a limitation, that is where community outreach and education can play an important role. Let's take a very simple example. The construction impacts here on the West End. I cannot control on my own the construction schedules, or I cannot control whether the federal government will give more money to accelerate the LRT construction, but people truly appreciate knowing directly from a reliable source. And in this case, it is the person that they would have voted to represent them. So it's not always giving immediately the solution, but informing people with the context of what is going on, what the government can and cannot do, and what the individual people can do, whether to make their own process to advocate, or if they want to host me and the city staff for a town hall, those are the things that can be done. And perhaps they can come up with a neighborhood grassroots temporary solution, while the long term changes, we need to wait for them to unfold. There are a lot of options, but it comes down to starting that conversation and making sure the everyday people know that they can reach their elected representative to discuss and brainstorm.
Absolutely, Giselle. Absolutely. So, on your website, you're running on four main issues: affordability and taxes, development and infrastructure, safe and inclusive communities, and better city services. Pray tell me, Giselle, how are you thinking to make life more affordable here in Edmonton? Because everything is just crazily expensive. There's inflation everywhere.
Yeah.
Pump prices, food prices, everything is expensive, but your paycheck is the only thing that has not seen an increase. So, how do you intend to tackle this now?
There are, I mean, again, city government has limitations of what they can and cannot do. However, in my perspective, within the parameters of what the city government can do, there are a bunch of options. For example, the local amenities that are really close to us, the playgrounds, the community leagues, the libraries, and the recreation centers. If these services are expanded or maintained properly, and then on top of that, people are encouraged to use these more often, they can save a lot of money. Just a simple example. Instead of feeling pressured to spend a lot of money on an event, perhaps walking down to your neighborhood block party can save you money and build connections with your neighbors. Or volunteering in your neighborhood community league can be the resume booster that a young person would need in order to find their better job prospects. I personally have saved thousands and thousands of dollars over many years because I use the library services. I don't even have a lot of subscriptions. It sounds old school, but I borrow DVDs from the library, and that's how I enjoy certain movies and video games and workshops. So, and those are within the scope of responsibility of the city government, making sure our public transit service continues to grow and expand and meet the needs of people, so that people can choose to, okay, even just occasionally use transit or bike to work like my husband does, to save money on other expenses like transportation. Even things such as providing grants or speeding up the permitting process for small businesses, so that if someone wants to start their dream business with a small amount of funds, the city will not get in the way of making this happen for these budding entrepreneurs. So there are a lot of things that can be quite difficult that the city cannot directly impact on, like rent. That's a rent caps, it's a provincial government thing. However, with getting more permits for more homes to be built and even more affordable homes to be built. There's a news release that just came out of the provincial government literally hours ago. These are some of the options, tools in the toolbox, as they say, where the city can help.
I absolutely agree with you. You sound very knowledgeable about that, Giselle. Well done. You've done your homework, and these are like practical things. I want to move into transit. As someone who relies on transit, you said your husband, your partner cycles, and
Yes.
you are known to take the bus regularly. What specific changes would you champion to improve transit access and reliability citywide?
What's really interesting is this is going to sound boring, but just continuing what we are doing right now. I mentioned earlier about just the average person not being aware of what the city is doing. But there's a lot of things happening with transit. For those who might be interested, I will find the link and send it to you folks. But there's now a report card for bus routes that people can access publicly and see if the ridership, timeliness, how crowded or not crowded they are. It's all available for us to see. There's a pilot project right now. You know how not too long ago we now have the ARC card where you can tap on the bus to pay? There's a pilot project right now where using your e-wallet or your debit card or credit card, you can pay. These upgrades are ongoing as we speak. And even in the new neighborhoods, and as a starting point, they have the on-demand bus where you have to book with an app or do a phone call. Once there's enough ridership, there's actually a process where they get upgraded to a regular conventional bus. So all of these things are ongoing and it's quite wonderful. Edmonton Transit reviews the performance of these bus routes multiple times a year. So, what is important here, again, it's going to sound boring, but to keep at it and ensure that the funding is continuous so that the growth in performance can continue to improve.
Hmm. Thank you very much, Giselle. Like some of the counselors right now, before they became counselors, they were so accessible. They spoke in everyday language. They were really, I think, down to earth good people. I am not suggesting that they are not no longer good people, but my question really is, how will you stay grounded? How would you not let the prestige of the office you're running for get into your head? Like when I text you, you text back. Well, not all the present counselors. Now they're like years into their job. You text them, they don't answer. You call, they don't. Some of them don't bother to return your calls. I get that the work is busy. I get that life is very, very busy. But how do you intend, Giselle, to stay grounded with common Edmontonians once they and if they elect you to office?
There is this idea I had in 2021, and another candidate added it in their 2025 platform, which I like. And it is a public dashboard, basically, on my, if I get elected and I have a city councilor website, like a public dashboard to truly show decisions, facts, and figures. Even things such as how many events did I attend this weekend or this month, and how many emails did I respond to over the past week. I genuinely think that sometimes people don't have a clear picture of the scope of work of a city councilor, so or even the mayor. And I would like to make that as transparent as possible. It's not like to make it as an excuse, but to help people understand, right? So let's say, as an example, next year during the budget deliberation for the next 4 year budget, and I've been getting 100 emails a day. And if this dashboard clearly shows that from October 1st to 31st, 2026, the counselor office of Giselle General is getting 100 emails a day, it helps put it in perspective. So it's not like I'm ignoring people. It's just I'm swimming in emails, for example. Um, I intend to have and maintain all the social media platforms that I have. I really hope, because there isn't one right now, I hope that there is better policy at the council level on how to protect counselors from harassment, because that is definitely part of it, right? Some people feel inclined to just shut down the accounts because the harassment is particularly bad. And It takes staff hours to filter through the awfulness and find the meaningful messages. So that is the other thing that I wanted to try out. And finally, yes, I think sometime I wanted, I've never been a politician yet, so I cannot have a definitive answer, but I really truly want to assess whether the employees of a city council office is enough. They have a limited budget to hire maybe two or two and a half full-time equivalent staff. And some of them have to do policy, some of them have to do liaising with city departments, and they have to do communication. So I I'm still talking about from the perspective from the outside. I want to see whether if this is enough, and if truly people want quick responses, maybe there should be more support, whether it's admin, AI software to automate emails. I'm not sure. But I know sometimes it's not the best. People don't react well when people say we need to invest more on staffing. Maybe that is part of it. I have no way to completely know until I'm there, but I want to explore all options. And let's say hypothetically, maybe there should be a full-time comms manager for every three counselors that they share together, and it's worth the money for people to restore their
Just,
faith in
we're
politics.
running out of time. We're running
Why
out of
not?
time. I must interrupt you. I'm so sorry. We're running out of time. We're running
So
out of
good.
time. Yeah. So two questions. Yeah. The first
Yeah.
question there is, what will be your first quick win should you get elected for the residents of Sipiwiyiniwak? And second, final question, on your LinkedIn page, you reported a lot of potholes and broken fixtures with 311 app. Could you tell us what the response rate is on that app, and how good the service generally is when you use 311? You have about 30
Absolutely.
seconds or maybe 45 seconds even for this to,
Absolutely.
yeah.
The first win I'm going to do for Ward Sipiwiyiniwak is to organize a full year schedule of town halls and engagement meetings. We've never had that in Sipiwiyiniwak. Right next door in Ward Nakota Iska, the counselor there had regular schedules. So that's, and a constant newsletter that is published regularly. So that's the first thing. Improve and streamline the communication and engagement process, and the residents would appreciate that very much. As far as 311, I would say I would give it a 6 out of 10. I think for projects or complaints that require a longer term fixing, let's say 5 potholes in a single road, what they put in the app as a response is forwarded to other departments. That's not good. That does not restore people's faith in reporting. But in smaller defects that I have reported, they get fixed right away. And I even get a call back from the call center for 311 to tell me it's been fixed, the ice has been cleared. So I would give it a 6 out of 10. I would just hope that for tickets that take a longer time to be fixed, that the communication could be better.
Fantastic, Giselle. Thank you so very much. You are candidate running forward Sipiwiyiniwak, and you joined us over your lunch break. You have about 10 more minutes for your lunch hour. I didn't want to take it all. I appreciate the comments you made around transparency, around organizing a town hall on your day one at the job. Organize a calendar for town halls on day one. And I appreciate everything you've said concerning trying to generate and get more people involved by being accessible to regular and everyday Edmontonians. We will invite you back. We're planning and we're working on a debate so we're going to try to get all the candidates from what Sipiwiyiniwak together to get their thoughts and see how you guys converse and communicate together. I want to say a big thank you, Giselle, for joining us this afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you so
you
much for
so
having
much
me.
for your time. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you, Giselle.
Thanks. Take care.
Take care. This is politics today. Before it was big conversations with T. Before it was ladies' corner with T. So now we have moved to politics today with Tee Adeyemo, and that was Giselle General. She's running for what, Sipiwiyiniwak. She's an Edmonton City Council candidate, and she joined us to talk to us about candidacy and some of the highlights of our candidacy. We promised that we were going to bring in Malik Chukwudi. He is running for Edmonton City Councillor. This is Politics Today. If you're watching this at home, we are seeking sponsors. If this show is of any value to you, there's something on the text scroller with our number and our email address. So please holler at us to sponsor if you think we're bringing good value. So without much ado, here is Edmonton City Councillor candidate Malik Chukwudi. Good afternoon, Malik. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we don't see your video though. Is this deliberate?
I don't know. I could.
Good afternoon, Malik. Thank you for joining us.
I can see myself. I don't know why I can't enter studio. Okay. All right. This is much better.
Okay, lovely. Good to see you, Malik.
Good to see you.
In a minute. Look at you looking very, very healthy. Yes, Edmonton is doing you good.
It's doing me good. I'm so relaxed.
Oh, Malik, we thank God. Look at you looking very healthy. Dare I say chubby. God is good. Why are you doing this
I need to go to the gym.
What did you say?
What was that?
You said something, I missed that. What did you say?
I said I need to go to the gym.
Yeah, is that what the way you are feeling to go to the gym?
No. I feel good. I'm comfortable in my skin.
Okay.
I know I look quite different between 2021 and 2024.
Well, you obviously matured and you're doing this race against yourself. Why are you putting yourself up for all this stress again for the city of Edmonton, Malik?
Yes, I get that question all the time, most of the time. That's one question I get everywhere I go. It doesn't matter where. Why do you want to bring this up on yourself? Well, for someone that was born in the country, just a few minutes drive outside of Edmonton, and I spent most of my life in Edmonton. My kids were born here. This city is very important to me, and I also worked for the city of Edmonton for several years as you. And I worked in a field operations, which means that I was responsible for building the roads, fixing potholes, and infrastructure, the bridge, and what have you. Snow removal, supervised snow removal. I just realized there's a huge disconnect between the city hall and city of Edmonton employees, and from the city manager all the way to director city of Edmonton, to the president of the union, to supervisors and foremen, and also with its residents in Edmonton. There's such a huge disconnect, and a lot of things have been going wrong. Everyone in Edmonton knows that. This is a stark contrast between 2021 and 2025. The roads are a mess, the potholes everywhere, the construction everywhere, the traffic congestion plus the construction had created such a huge problem for businesses losing millions of dollars. And small size businesses cannot survive this. And also, for when you look at homeless issues, it's getting worse. I've been a victim where my vehicle was stolen just from my driveway by a homeless person. Also, crime's gone up 25%, even though the current mayor said it was down. Low income housing that was promised, I think, was it last year? The prime minister, the former prime minister, Justin Trudeau, came down to Edmonton and promised $175 million to go towards low income housing and affordable housing, and 70% of that promises haven't been met. So, and when everyone says that Andrew Knack and Tim and some of the guys who've been in council had experience, my response to that is experience without results. It's failure. So I understand they have experience maybe to run for office. They experience as politicians. They have experience to campaign. but I don't think they have experience to manage the city. Either they manage the infrastructure, manage the finance, because if they do, we wouldn't be in the situation we are today.
Is someone calling you, Malik?
Yeah, shut it off. Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Go ahead.
Um, I hear what you're saying about and they're not being changed from 21 to 25.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry someone broke into your car. And that's so disheartening knowing how expensive cars cost here in the city. I'm assuming you've got insurance
Yeah.
and so it didn't impact you too greatly.
No.
You emphasize tough management, Malik. You talk tough around city issues. And one of the things that you often say is you want to hold city agencies to account. Can you share one concrete example of a city service you intend to reform with this tough management approach that you bring into the table?
I don't really want to blame. The most important thing is use it or lose it. Budget ideology, but every department has this issue, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I mean, it's just like in your family, you have a child. It's your responsibility to discipline your child. It's your responsibility to teach them right from wrong. And if they go to school and they're nuisance to their fellow classmates, you know, all you have to do is look at the family. Why is this kid acting up in school? Whether it has structure at home or it doesn't. The same thing applies to this government. If the departments in the city of Edmonton doesn't seem to have structure and they waste money, well, you don't have to blame them. It's all starts from the top. If the mayor isn't looking into all this, every department, making sure that every budget allocated to the departments are used specifically for what they were allocated for, make sure there's actually results and transparency where they could provide to the public and say, well, we put in $120 million in this project, in this program, in this grant, and this is the results. I mean, there's been small and medium-sized businesses been helped. We have reduced homelessness in half. We have reduced crime. We have done so much. Well, we could look at the results and then we could clap for the council and the mayor and say, well, job well done. I mean, you talk the talk, you walk the walk. You're not just a career politician, just showing off work to collect your salary, but you're actually doing the job. The biggest problem also notice that the councillors, you spoke to Giselle and you could see that she's actually did her homework, but she hasn't been in a position to actually for anyone to know if she can actually implement those things. And myself, I've worked for an oil and gas company for 20 something odd years, worked at a coal mine for 6 years before joining the city of Edmonton. So I've worked in the private and corporate world where results is everything. If you're not there to produce, you are the door the next day. But with the government, no, they get to run for election the next time and the next time. Every election cycle, they getting elected, and they keep repeating the same thing, and we're not getting any results. And that's the reason why myself, Omar Mohammed, Rahim Jaffer, and some other candidates are jumping in the race. If Andrew Knack, if Amadou Sohi, who the current mayor isn't running, and we all know why he's not running, because he knows he's not going to win. And if he has done a good job, if Andrew Knack and Tim Cartmill has done what they're supposed to do, Andrew Knack is just being Andrew Knack. Amadou Sohi 2.0, and Andrew Knack is just being very divisive. And he think being a mayor is just to control everything. It doesn't work like that. You should provide results. You should provide answers and solution, and work. You have to work with people. But when you provide the lead, you have to lead. When you're a leader, you're not a leader. You're not a dictator. You're there to lead by example for everybody to see. Hey, I'm here to do a job, and you're either with me or against me. I was elected by the people to do a job, and I'm accountable to that. I have to answer to that. So if anybody around here isn't willing to work for the people of Edmonton who brought us here to do a job, then that person is part of the problem. And that's how I look at things. There's so many departments that have issues, but I don't want to blame them, because just like example I gave you, if a child goes to school and being a nuisance, being a jerk, why isn't the child's parents being able to see that in the first place? And because they say charity begins at home. What you see in the school, what people exhibit, children exhibit at the place of work, is sometimes how they were raised. So if this the department, city of Edmonton, is not doing what they're supposed to do, being wasteful, like we have seen, they waste a lot of money. Will you blame them? I mean, the
I,
guard, the councillors and the director, city of Edmonton, and the city managers and the mayor should look into these things and make sure it doesn't happen. But they choose not to.
I hear what you're saying. I hear that there's a disconnect between city administration and city council,
Yeah,
and that should be a scoreboard for administration in terms of what it is they are doing. Are they draining water, draining expensive money
yeah,
recklessly? Are they being accountable for resources that they're given? So it
yeah.
takes me to my next question: the balanced leadership. What are you going to do with administration right now to make sure, because I get the council is the council. The council is not the administration.
No.
What do you tend to do to make administration, city administration, a bit more effective, a bit more transparent, and a bit more open in performing their services?
It's a culture, and you have to change the culture. It's a mentality, and you have to change it. And that's why I'm running for office, because if you can beat them, and they usually say you join them. Well, since I couldn't change it from within when I was there, and I don't want to join them, and these are good people. I know them. I work for the city. I work with these guys, and I know with the proper lead and reform, they will follow suit. And then when you were there, you could see those bad apples that don't want to follow suit. You know, they've been put in there by the establishments like Andrew Nack, Tim Catmull, um, Amajit Sohi, and also Don Iverson. And you know, most of the problems, to be honest with you, most of the problems that we have today in the city of Edmonton was actually 80% of them were inherited. So he inherited 80% of this problem. Most of it was done by Don Iverson, but nobody talks about it. When I researched and looked at some of the issues, I was, wow, you know, Don Iverson makes so he look like an angel. I mean, I think the anger people have, the frustration people have towards Sohi is because when he was elected, they expect him to reform the system, to change the system, to make it better. And he didn't. He sat on his hands and things get out of hand. And I think that's the frustration people have towards him. You know, this spending, he didn't do anything to control the spending, even though he's been caught on a hot mic saying that the city councillors are spending like drunken sailors. I mean, and he had blamed the previous council. He's on record, him blaming the previous council for not doing anything to control spending, because we're $4.4 billion in debt and $1.5 billion in deficit. The what we bring in revenue is not sustainable to keep Edmonton going. If we continue to go this route, if nothing changed in this last election, within 4 years, Edmonton will declare bankruptcy, just like the city of Windsor, Ontario, the first city ever in Canada to declare bankruptcy. And we will follow suit because there's no accountability. There's no plan. There's no structure. So everything, you know, it's almost like free for all. Every part of the city you go, there's construction going on there. There are cones on the road, and there's no construction work going on there. Why are those cones and barricades sitting on the road where there's no job? If there's no job, they've been done, they remove it. Anyone who is 40 years and above could remember when Edmonton was such a beautiful place. You could drive wherever you want to go, you get there in 10, 15 minutes with no traffic, no nothing. Now and then you have your your rush hour, but it clears out as quick as possible. Now they talk about, you know, people moving into Edmonton as if it's a bad thing that we are growing as a city. No, when those people come here, they bring in money, they buy houses, they pay taxes. It's money in our pocket. But when they talk about it like Andrew Nack, whoa, we cannot pay for all these essential services because we have grown in population. But it's not, those people didn't come here with their hands out. They came here working. they have homes. They bought homes. I know friends of mine who bought houses. They came from London, England, and they, Nigerians, all they came from London, England. They came from the U.S. They came from Ontario. They came from Toronto. They came up here. They bought homes, and they work. Some of them work for the city, and some of them have their own personal businesses. They came here with their own money to invest here.
Malik, I hear what you're saying. My apologies for interrupting, but we need to move on to the next
Yeah,
question. What all of this you're alluding to is called physical discipline. Okay. And what you said just in your remarks was that Mayor Soe could not do it in his
yeah,
4 years. And
yeah,
he himself, that you said, so he said the mess started from the previous
yes,
administration.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are Is it even possible, should you become mayor, Malik, that you would be able to ensure fiscal discipline in the city? Is it even possible that you could
It's
prevent
possible. It's possible.
from declaring bankruptcy? Your thoughts?
It's problem because when you're the buck stops at your desk. I work for the city. I've also worked at corporate and businesses in the last 26, 28 odd years. So I am not new to leadership. I'm not new to consulting. I'm not new to balancing budget. I'm not new to paying down debts and deficits. When I was the regional manager for the world third largest oil company in the Middle East, we had $176 million in deficit. I had to pay it off. And they gave me an objective. They gave me a plan. We need you to grow the portfolio. And we had only 4 drilling oil rigs. And I went from that 4 to 17 land drilling rigs and 4 offshore rigs. So when you come in with a positive attitude, you come in with a plan. And everyone could see it, that you're not just there to line up your pocket and that of your friends who are developers and builders, but you're actually there to do a job. And you set it in motion, and people could see that you're there, you mean business. And I work for the city, so I know typically what department that uh, uh, we can, where I could make things happen. Those guys know who I am. I know who they are, and I have so many people who have been kicked out of the city in the last 18 months. 8 managers have resigned from the city of Edmonton, and these are my friends. And they resigned because the city hall, people like Andrew Knack and Tim and Amajit Sohi, will not let them do a good job. So they decide to walk away after 20 years or 30 years they've been working for the city. These guys brought a lot of experience to the table. When I joined the city, I learned a lot from them, and they have left the city in the last 18 months. 8 managers have left the city. That is not a good sign. And that is something the media doesn't tell you. And the media in Edmonton are very instrumental to create this establishment candidate and build up Andrew Knack and Tim Catmull as if they're the only ones in Edmonton that has the answer to the problems of Edmonton. I understand why they do that. I mean, Andrew Knack has been a councillor for 8 years with no results, and Tim has been a councillor for 8 years, no results. He could barely show up for work and vote on his motion. Like, for example, this last infield motion meeting they had, Tim Catmull wasn't there. He made a video, you know, really a negative video against his fellow councillors. When you weren't even there, he said, I have something way more important to do. Where I'm going to the Stampede, you know. And I see this behavior from councillor and the current mayor decide to step away and run for federal office. I see staying here and fixing Edmonton isn't a priority. You are voted to do a job, but all of a sudden they seem to have more interest to do something else. So no, I don't have any political interest to do anything else. If I became the next mayor of Edmonton, I'm staying here to fix things in the city. My kids are here, my friends are here, people like you are here, and so many of my friends out there. I want to make sure that this city works for them, and their goals and their dreams were achieved in Edmonton.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a very comprehensive answer. Edmonton needs to diversify and innovate. What are your 3 top priorities to stimulate a resilient and inclusive local economy?
Well, we need to attract investors, and to attract investors, you have few key things that should be on the ground. Unfortunately, one of them we're still struggling to try to figure it out, which is transportation. Our bus route is not good, and so many families have moved out of Edmonton because their kids use the bus, and the delays and the problem with the bus routes. Sometimes you're waiting for an hour, half an hour for a connecting route. And they moved out. I've known a family that moved to Sherwood Park because the bus route here in Edmonton is they're working for their kids going to school and going to work. Transportation is very important. Property tax is very important. We have to lower property tax. We have to put a cap on property tax. We have to encourage small businesses to and incentivize businesses here in Edmonton. Also, work with affordability. When houses are cheaper. There was when I was door knocking, there was a beautiful home at Strathcona area where I live by the University of Alberta. So that's my area. And Michael Jans is my counselor. So in this area here, the woman I was speaking to, I spoke to, told me that the next building has been vacant for 2 years because it's estimated at $1.2 million. And no one could afford it, but it's in a beautiful neighborhood. Former mayor lives there. Rachel Notley lives there. Very important politicians live there. But if that's an idea of affordable housing, that's a problem. If people move out here to buy houses and they could afford a house 1.2 million in Toronto, Ontario, too expensive in Vancouver. They moved out here. They want to buy something, 380, 400, 450,000, 500, $520,000 house, not 1.2 million. So obviously it will sit there for a long time. So these things will attract, if the transportation is available, means that not everyone could afford to have a vehicle, but they could be able to take a bus and show up for work. Secondly, is the property tax. That's one thing that chases business away from any town, any community, any country is property tax. That's why billionaires, if they tax a lot, they seem to move their money to offshore accounts. But we have to have a good tax structure. We bring in $3.4 billion in revenue in Edmonton, and we spend $3.4 billion in expenditure. So the money comes and the money goes out. There's no really plan. So we're always, it's like going, when we always say from paycheck to paycheck. The city of Edmonton is going from paycheck to paycheck. They have no plans to save money. They have no plans to make the city viable for business investments. And I will look into all that. First of all, you close all the loopholes. You control the spending, and our rating goes up, and you work with the province, because the province is not in line with Edmonton, because we have a liberal mayor here, we have a conservative premier, and they seem to butt head all the time. But I'm an independent, and I love Kearney, I love Daniel Smith. To me, it's not about party. It's who can help Edmonton get out of the mess that it is. And once you begin to play party, then we get into a rough, a difficult area. And I think Canadians in general are fed up, are speaking fed up of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about parties brings me to our next point of collaboration. How do you intend to collaborate? You mentioned with the premier. How do you intend to collaborate with even other councillors? Should you become the next mayor? Could you reflect on collaboration, and also how you intend to be more responsive to regular and everyday Edmontonians in, should you become mayor, of course, than what we've seen with this present council? Because obviously when they campaign, they say they'll be so accessible, this and that, but that isn't really what happens when they become councillor.
No.
Or when they become mayor, they don't return phone calls, and they don't bother to
emails. No.
What are you going to do differently? And talk to us in about 30 5 to 40 seconds on
Well,
collaboration.
I'm a people's mayor. I am a working class a mayor. I'm a small business mayor, a small and medium sized business mayor, and I am fiscally conservative and socially progressive. So I'm in the middle. I'm a centrist. So I'll work with Daniel Smith. No doubt about it. I know Daniel Smith very well, and also I'll work with anybody. Kearney is from Edmonton, and I'll work with the Prime Minister of Canada. My goal is to work with anyone that will help Edmonton. I know the NDP leader, Nahid Nanchi, who I've met several times, such a wonderful gentleman. And, he's a good person. He's been a previous mayor of Calgary. So he also brings a lot of experience to the table. So my goal isn't to um, say, well, I don't like this person's policy. NDP is good for Edmonton. The conservative UCP is not good for Edmonton. I could care less about that. At the end of the day, everybody wants results. Who cares? When your bill comes in the mail, they don't ask you if you're NDP or liberal. You have to pay your bills. But you care about that person, that leader who helps to make your life and the life of your family much easier and affordable. Sorry, much easier and more affordable. Excuse me. And it's not about party. Maybe provincial or federal level we could talk about party. But as far as Edmonton is concerned, there shouldn't even be a question about it. I know that the establishment candidate like Andrew Knack and Tim aligned with the party, even though Andrew Knack runs as a conservative, but he's a liberal person, and Tim isn't actually anything. He's just a chameleon. He's not a he says he's fiscally conservative, but his voting in council hasn't shown me that. I think he talked the talk, he doesn't work the work. Andrew Knack also talked the talk. He seemed like a very loving person. I've met him several times. I also had a serious engagement with him where he wasn't being honest, and I called him out, and he finally said, "Okay, well, let's go have a coffee and talk it out." But the thing is that some of them they have I don't know, like you said, you go in there all of a sudden they seem to forget who they are and who they serve. I wouldn't be that person. I wouldn't be that person. If I'll have town hall meetings at least once a month or twice a month, it's very important. And
Yeah.
people might yell and then be angry, but it comes with the territory. A
Mm.
leader, everybody isn't going to like you, but when you leave office, your legacy stays. People will look back and say, "Damn, I wish we still have him in power." That's what I want to hear when I finally leave office. I want people to say, "Well, we were happy when he was here. I didn't quite understood him, but now he's gone. I now appreciate what he's done."
We need to talk about what you have here on your website. Edmonton transformed me from a farm kid to a mayoral candidate. This is what your last comment is, a beautiful segue into your comments. Farm kid turned mayoral candidate. How is this upbringing going to shape your vision into making Edmonton more inclusive for
Farm
everybody?
kid for everybody. Farm kid is, I came from a very humble background. I grew up on a farm. My dad's a farmer, and my mom's a seamstress, and she went to school and became a school teacher and went to law school, but never practiced law. And I came from a very humble background. We're not rich, but we're comfortable. And my parents had enough. My twin brother went off to law school, and my younger brother lives in Calgary with his family. So, this is I can relate to the working class. I can relate to the small business owners because I'm now a small business owner here in Edmonton. I have an office in downtown and another office in Chinatown. So I'm also a small business owner in Edmonton. So if I were being an elitist, all the years I worked in the oil and gas and all the money I've made would have made me, my actions, my behavior, you could tell. And this guy is is not gonna be for the ordinary people. I am for the ordinary people because I want people to treat me the way I treat them. And when I send people text messages and call them, they don't respond. it hurts, and especially, when you're in that position, there's high hopes, that the people expect you to listen to them. Where we have a town hall meeting, someone's angry about a decision I made. I'll listen to them, then I'll go back to my office and sit with my team and try to understand, figure out a better way to, help the community or the neighborhood deal with issues, especially with the hot topic of the infill that is going on right now. And I knocked on doors in Crestwood and all that neighborhood. There's no, right now in Edmonton, I've never met any person who said that they are in support, in line with any of these two establishment candidates, Andrew Knack and Tim. People are really upset and angry. In 2021, I never heard that. I ran in 2021, knocked on doors. Nobody I met at the door had anything to say about any councillor or the mayor or anything. But this time around, people are angry. People that usually don't have any opinion one way or the other. Now everyone talking. They can't afford food, they can't afford rent, the property tax has gone from 800 to 1,500, and people are just overall angry with the construction and the potholes and the what it costs them to fix their vehicle, and the city is not paying out when this pothole damages your vehicle. The city doesn't. Usually, back in the day, the city used to help financially and give you money. You take your car to a mechanic, they fix your vehicle, and the city actually pay for it. They give the city receipt, pay for it. Now the city lawyers up. You have to find their lawyer. They're not there to help any citizen. And it's not the fault of the citizen. They pay taxes to fix the road. So if the city, out of stupidity or laziness and incompetence, didn't fix this street, the citizens have every right to sue them because the citizens pay tax, so to use the road. So if you're not delivering the services, well, you have to pay me for the damages in my vehicle. But instead of the city paying for it, now you got to talk to the lawyer and they have to give you a runaround. Eventually, you get
Malik,
fed up or you walk away.
that's beautiful. Thank you so very much for your time.
You're
We've
welcome. Appreciate it.
run out of our time. What I like about you actually is I can just text you and say, Malik, you want to jump on the show? And you say yes. And I'm grateful for that. I appreciate the respect, Vice Versa. And we at Purple Media at Ladies Corner on this show, we wish you all the best. And we're working on some sort of a debate forum like in
I had
21.
last 2021.
Like in 2021, we're gonna get all you together, all of you guys together,
It's very
and
important.
we're gonna trash
I
on
love
some
that because right now every one of them seem to be in their own small echo chamber.
yeah,
You are the ones that brought us out in 2021, Michael
and we'll
Autry
continue
and Kim Crushell and everyone. So I would
to
like us to have similar things. So
absolutely.
they can run, they can hide. So we all will speak on the issues.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, we need sponsors for that big debate thing coming up. We're
Yes,
looking for support for this channel. We're looking for support
100%. Yeah.
to be able to keep doing this. Malik Chukwudi, you are an Edmonton city of
Thank you.
Edmonton, Bureau candidate. I want to say thank you so much for
Yes,
joining.
I let people also remember that I did work for the city because I get that question all the time. People say, "What? I mean, what experience do you have?"
Work.
Because people think I just is some
Yeah.
arrogant guy just came out of nowhere want
All
to
right.
be a mayor. And they say, "Well, why weren't you a councillor like Stephen Mandel?" Asked me. He said, "Why didn't you? If you want me to support you, you have to be a councillor first." But Bill Smith, one of the mayors of Edmonton, not too
We
long.
have to leave it there. We have to leave it there. Thank you so very much.
Thank
We'll do
you
this
too.
again. Please have a good afternoon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Good
so much.
afternoon. Okay,
Mhm.
ciao. Ciao.
That was Malik Chukwudi. He has a lot of content, and we want to speak to him till maybe 4 p.m. But the way these things run, we have to let it go. We had to let him go. We have to move it on because our final guest for politics today, your new show, which was formerly Big Conversations, which was also Ladies Corner with Tina Politics today. We have Councillor Funky Banjoko. She is a councillor from the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo, and she joins us today to talk about why she's seeking re-election. Sorry to have kept you waiting, councillor. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I am doing good, and as always, you look like a model. You look so beautiful.
Thank you. So do you. It's like we planned the outfits today, actually. Pull up. This is nice.
And that's my color. You're wearing my color.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank
When
you.
look at the last 4 years, what are some of the accomplishments you are very happy with?
Oh, well, it's been a marathon, like we all know. For me, I knew I had to do more because of being the first. I needed to make sure I get this space not for me alone, but for the people coming behind me. So I worked on some things that target the people, not the rich, but the regular working class people and the people who are hurting in the economy. Hello? Are you there?
I am here. What I've just done is to give you the entire screen to speak. I'm here.
Okay, okay.
You'd rather see my face, but it's actually better when you get the floor to speak very freely.
All right. So I worked on quite a few items that I'm so proud of. So in this region, we used to have the residency doctors program for student doctors, bring them to serve and work in a hospital here. And that way we can get more physicians in our region. That motion passed. We are still working on it. We want that reinstated in our region. I worked on the transportation, the public transit in the city, and I also started a committee, which is called Vehicle for Hire Committee. It was in existence before. That committee died, but I restarted it, and now we've been busy trying to look at how we can explore other opportunities for our region. So I've done a lot in the transportation space. I worked on poverty reduction, poverty alleviation in our region. We are asking administration to look at how we can help people. We have a lot of immigrants. We have a lot of indigenous communities, indigenous people around us here. And so that is being worked on. And we had issues of homelessness in our region. And I can report that that's much better. One of the main things hurting our community is the fly out of workers. People who live in other regions and come here to work. I have nothing against having people work from anywhere else, workers from anywhere else. And like I always tell people jokingly, I also came from somewhere entirely different to come to Fort McMurray. So I was able to move a motion that calls for localization of our jobs here, which means all sectors need to look inwards for workers in Fort McMurray first. And also to if we bring workers from Edmonton, from BC, from Ontario, even people come from all the way from the States, they need to rent a room here, rent a place here, go grocery shopping here, impact our economy. That is currently being worked on. So most of what I've done is working for the people. And like I said, I am not tired. There's more work to be done. I have two motions on the table, which I'm extremely excited about. One is to see how we can empower our youths. I came across Youth Micro Grants program, and I'll be coming to table with that on September 9th. That will be my way of rounding up to empower the youths, give them some micro grants, 500, maybe maximum 1,000. Get them to get engaged and see what comes out of that in impacting them and developing future entrepreneurs. I'm excited about that, and also working on clean energy initiatives for our homes and for the industry. So it's been a busy 4 years for me. So many things, but there are some that they're unforgettable works that I have done.
Well done, Councillor. When you talk about vehicle for hire, I can
Yes.
get, because I've been to your beautiful municipality, and I can see why you need that. You look after student doctors. That's
Yes.
appreciated. You've
Thank you.
reduced the scourge of homelessness. The flight uh, problems,
Flying, fly out.
flyer problems, and
Yeah, we can't eliminate temporary workers, but
yeah,
we can make them impact here by living here and doing their grocery here, rent a room here,
making
and
sure
give
they
us some
stay.
of the money back into our
That's
system.
right. That
Yes,
is right. Now,
yes,
when you go door knocking, people may not even remember all these 10 things or more that you've listed. They will
yes,
complain. They will say, "Oh, but councillor, ABCD is not yet good. Did you
yes,
do F like you promised?" When you go knocking, Councillor Banjoko, what are
yes.
people telling you that there's still yet to be done? Because I understand it, 4 years is not always enough.
No,
And
it's
it's
not.
like you said, is busy. You need time to get this work done. That's why you're
Yes,
running again. You want to
yes.
finish what you started. What are people telling you when you go knocking on doors, man?
Okay, so one of my slogans is actually promises made, promises kept. I made a lot of promises, but I check every time. And I have people who work with me to say, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. So, for the most part, I think people are cheering for me everywhere. Black, white, indigenous people, I think they're happy with my work. But one area that we need to do more is economic development. We need to have more stores here. And until you get to that table, you don't know what it entails. We currently, of recent, we had Home Depot. This did groundbreaking. The Home Depot is coming here. One of the stores, and as you can imagine, that I promised the people is having winners, Laura and the Home Sense, the likes of that. So we have a new, it's going to be a shopping area, a mall that is being developed. Walmart is leading the way, and this at the Passings Creek side of our city. So people are looking to see which stores are coming. We have a lot of money in our region, but people go on the highway to go spend it in Edmonton and other places. So we want to have more
Okay.
entertainment here, more stores, and even a lot of people talk about Costco. And my thing is, if Costco can't come here, who can come here? So those are things still
Cinema
need to.
in Woodruff in your municipality is there? I didn't see a cinema the last time we came. Or is
We
there
do
one?
have one. We have a beautiful new one. Is
Okay.
at Eagle Ridge. We had an old one, which is being we've given that building to the arts
Council?
organized arts council in our region, but we
Right.
have a brand new nice one.
I didn't see that when I came. I didn't see that when I came.
It's
That's
on the a different side of the city than where you came.
all right.
And I
Okay.
think it would have been there when you came. Yeah, but we have one good one.
Councillor Banjoko, I hear what you're saying when you say Winners is coming, when you say Walmart is coming, and maybe even Almighty Costco may come on down to your municipality. It would be brilliant. But what are you doing to support local initiatives for maybe Wood Buffalo owned businesses for maybe Black people?
Like
People,
small businesses and
small,
all that.
lovely businesses that have
Yes.
grown to your area. What more are you doing to
So
facilitate?
I'm gonna be putting my weight behind a new initiative to see how we can revitalize businesses. Generally speaking, we focused a whole lot on the downtown area. Now we're hopefully going to get some work done on the region level to support the small businesses. We are also working through the likes of Startup YMM. And on the side, I work for an organization called Community Futures. So these are agencies that are supporting small businesses. So one of the things that I have been doing actively is to ensure that the new Canadians know the resources that are available for them. I have realized that a lot of what is going on is that people don't know where they can get help. So this on my part-time job is with Community Futures, and they do a lot of business services training, how to start your business in this region and sustaining your business. So we are supporting those kind of initiatives as councillors, and on my own as a visible minority immigrant, I make sure that this education gets to immigrants to know what, for them to take advantage of the many resources that we have. And hopefully, I'm hoping to be able to bring something to table for tax cuts, tax break for a certain time, maybe when in my second term, because we are running out of time right now.
What I liked when I came to the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo was the coziness. Everybody seemed to know everybody. And of
Yes.
course, Councillor Banjoko, you serve as, for me especially, and the reason what brought me to Wood Buffalo, you served as a connector, bringing people together. When you say you got all these things done, 10 plus achievements, I believe you don't stop. Not when we were in Wood Buffalo, not since then. Like,
No, I don't stop.
don't stop. You have a system where you keep going.
Yes, I do. I do.
Of mental health, and I know your background is in supply chain and mental health casework. What do you do for your own mental health, and what have you done as a counselor for the mental health of the community? Because
Thank you.
Need mental health resources and strategies, you cannot continue, but you don't stop. So it means you have figured out what you do something very well. But
so what I do,
everybody,
personally, I I sleep so well. When I shut down, I shut down. I want to take a break. When I'm doing my 8 hours sleep, I really sleep. And when I'm up and about. I connect with people. I celebrate with other people. You would have seen me in Edmonton or Calgary, everywhere, and of course, locally. I'm a Christian. I go to church, and I think it works for me. I pray, I celebrate, I sing. So that's one. But for the community, one of the motions, I'm glad you brought this to me. One of the latest things that I've done is to look at there's been some challenges with a lot of autistic kids, for instance, kids with challenges, and even some adults. So I moved this motion, I think a couple of months ago, that we need to be inclusive. We need to have spaces, not to exclude other people, but the space that are adequately equipped to take care of those kids, and also to support the parents. Is a lot of challenges, and all this take a toll on people. I'm hoping we'll be able to have more spaces for recreation. Currently, I'm on the board of the Regional Recreational Corporation for the region. We have spaces that McDonough Island. We have we just built we started building the Twin Arena. So many things. We need to create more spaces where people can unwind and get active, and all this come to play with our mental health. So those are the things that I have worked on, and the work is now done. Each person has to also take charge and hold themselves accountable to take the time to look after themselves.
And of course, we support your election. Promises made, promises kept. We want you to get the work done. Now, one of the promises you made at the start of your tenure was you'll be an advocate for indigenous communities to actualize the truth and reconciliation work with our indigenous brothers and sisters. Could you reflect on what you have done in the last 4 years to actually be an advocate for indigenous communities?
I think I have been the voice of indigenous communities and the minority. I spoke up about the economy of the indigenous people. They need to be more engaged. We need to take intentional steps to support them. So this, I have spoken up with the economic development. I have spoken up in public and in other meetings with them that we need to do more. We have potentials for fisheries, for tourism, and the work is not done, but I have kept my promises to never forget working with the indigenous community. For the immigrants, I think it is clear, regardless of the color or where anyone comes from, I have represented well. I have people who work with me, who meet with me periodically, sometimes every 3 months, and my door is always open. They bring suggestions, I work on them. They bring ideas, I work on them. I do not know it all. So that's how I've been able to keep those promises. I have people who keep me at check, and I also go back to reflect on my work, maybe monthly, weekly, and periodically. So I have spoken up for the Black folks. Inclusivity, being inclusive. There's been some work done on anti-racism and other works that will make all of us feel heard, feel seen, feel represented. And that's what I've stood for each of the work that I have done.
Councillor Banjoko, we thank you for being the voice for minorities. Online here, people are echoing that you continuously engage, you hear, and you speak for minorities.
Yes.
Thank you. Just to give us a proper, you're welcome, just to give us a proper balance, what would you like to improve about civic engagement, especially for newcomers and youths?
I think I would like for us to have a center where people can go to, a one-point shop, so to say, where people can go to and learn all about Canada, not only in the books, but someone who can connect with them, maybe an office where people can come and talk about their experiences and what they can do, the things they can carry over into Canada to integrate faster and easier. I would like to see that. I would like to see the youths being welcomed into the schools. There's still bullying going on. I would like to continue. I will continue to work against bullying in our schools. When children come here newly, they have a different kind of accent. Everybody has an accent. Sometimes they don't feel as welcome as they should be. I believe each school should intentionally do something to ensure a smooth integration and to support these new youths in the community. And of course, when we create more spaces where kids can easily get into basketball and different kinds of sporting activities, those are ways that we can help young people integrate faster. And I will not stop. I will continue to work on those things.
I believe you, Councillor. If re-elected, what are some of your immediate goals? What sort of goals would you have to prioritize supporting local, revitalizing the economy for everyone, including minorities,
yes,
youths, transportation, and people who are disabled, and maybe even the LGBTQ community?
Yeah. So again, my one of my main focus is that everybody needs to be heard, to be seen, and I am the voice of all the people, regardless of your belief, regardless of sexual orientation. We are all one race, the human race. So I would like to continue to be that voice, be that person that they can knock on the door, they can call me, they can text me. My information is public. I want to be able to continue to be accessible. Let people be able to access me anytime. I would want to continue that. For immigrants, of course, I can't stop. We have to continue to integrate people as soon as they get here, connect them with the resources that they have. And for local businesses generally, our work is far from being done. We have a part 9 part of our government, which is economic development. I actually had meeting with them this afternoon. I want to see more work done. They need to advocate more. They need to connect with the people that they're working for, which is all the businesses that are here. We need to be intentional to support our small businesses. Again, I'm hoping to bring in something that would introduce tax cut or tax pardon or some break for businesses that are hurting. And also, I'm looking at why can't we have revitalization for every part of our region rather than focusing on the downtown core alone. We've done that for years. It's time for us to go and walk all over the region and support small businesses. We don't give grants or loans directly to businesses, but if these businesses are well informed, they can come to the likes of Community Futures, of Startup Women and Economic Development, and begin to make plans and begin to also take advantage of the resources that we have in our region. So I'll continue to do that work and ensure that people are supported to succeed in our region.
Councillor Funky Banjoko, I hope we can invite you again. You're running for a second time as Ward 1 Councillor for the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo. Do you have a website where people can go to learn more of what you intend to do on the second term?
I'm one of those Facebook queens. I think my Facebook is the most current. You can either see me on or follow me on Funky Banjoko, Councillor Funky Banjoko, Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo, or my personal Facebook, Funky with an E, Banjoko. You see my work and what I'm doing, and follow me as I hit the road for my campaign. And I have a website, but it's being tidied up. And it's just once you type Funky Banjoko, you will find me. And people can follow me. They can send me suggestions, and I'm open to correction and direction. I don't know it all. So that will be where you can connect with me.
Councillor Funky Banjoko, thank you so very much for your time this afternoon. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this quite short but sweet conversation, looking at the last 4 years and even being able to reflect on what you like to do if you get reelected. And here at Ladies Corner, we wish you all the best. We do hope to get 4 years to get this work done.
You bet. I'm gonna do it. With the help of everyone, I stand a good chance, and I would continue to work for the people. I'm looking forward to 4 more.
4 more years. You have kept your promises. When is the election at Wood Buffalo?
October 20th, and that's the day before my birthday.
October 19th.
20th, 20. Okay. And then my birthday is 21st.
Oh, okay.
So it's a special week for me.
Oh, amen. And we shall celebrate together by the grace.
Yes. But whenever we see, either in that meeting or Fort McMurray.
Very well, sometime soon anyhow. But thank you again very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you, and thank you to your entire team at Ladies Corner. I appreciate the work that you're doing. And yes, don't stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. And there we have it. That was Councillor Funky Banjoko, our last guest on Politics Today. This is the revamped Big Conversations with Tee, Ladies Corner with Tee, and now it's called Politics Today. Of course, with your one and truly Tee Adeyemo. We had Malik Chukwudi, we had Dr. Chris Chukwuma, the new president of the Nigerian Association, the Nigerian Canadian Association of Edmonton, and of course we had Giselle General running for running inward Sipiwiyiniwak the second time. We hope you'll join us next week, as we will have a new guest list, a new set of guests on this show. We thank you so much for joining us this past 1 hour and 45 minutes, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good afternoon. Goodbye.